The true principle of this chakra is integrity. The third chakra deals primarily with your identity, your ability to express yourself or lack thereof, confidence, self-esteem and belonging, as well as self-assessment and how far one should exercise that particular critical function. The negative polarities of this chakra are as follows. When the Manipura energies are too far yang, the individual is overly self-critical. Now, integrity is a very important thing, and we should all strive to be the very best we can, but that's not an easy task, and we will all slip up from time to time. The extreme yang personality takes self-criticism way too far. He or she is a perfectionist. They set standards that they can't achieve and then they beat themselves up over it. This results in a lack of confidence and self-esteem. Integrity means wholeness, being all of what you say you are and not wavering. It's like a ball just rolling along. It might pick up a few scratches along the way and a few dents, but it doesn't just stop and say, "Oh my God, I'm scratched. I'm no longer a ball. I just can't go on. Unclean! Unclean!" No. It just evaluates the why and the how, and it keeps on rolling, and making sure that it learns so it can avoid similar scratches in the future. If it rolls off in the wrong direction, it doesn't just give up, it rolls back in the right direction. Instead of beating itself up for making a mistake, it learns not to go in that direction again. And if it encounters any other balls on the journey, it might warn them about it and say, "Hey, don't go that way. It's a dead end. I've got this scratch going that way." And if they listen, they listen. And if they don't, they don't. So that's why you don't want to fall into the extreme yang. If you're that overly self-critical that you lose confidence every time you fuck up, then you're really going to cave in when other people criticise you. Your self-esteem will be eroded, and your sense of self-worth and belonging will plummet. You will no longer feel that you have a place in society. You will feel undeserving or unworthy to express yourself. Don't do that. Live and learn. Guilt is one thing. Punishing yourself for what can't be changed is another. So that's how the out of balance yang manifests itself in the third chakra. What about the out of balance yin? Well, the issue here is integrity. We've explored the extreme yang of integrity. So what is the yin or the negative of integrity? Well, in general terms, it's hypocrisy. But not hypocrisy alone. You see, a lot of people tend to attribute lack of self-esteem to the out of balance yin. But as I've just shown, lack of self-esteem is a byproduct of out of balance yang, not yin. The extreme yin of the third chakra goes back to what I discussed during my analysis of the root chakra. The person who bases their personality on false or superficial foundations. The person who seeks to be a reflection of the world around them and echoes the opinions and the platitudes that happen to be popular at that place or time. The social chameleon. The out of balance yin manifests at the third chakra as a direct result of this. This is the bad fruits of the tree that I talked about earlier. In other words, not only does the third chakra yin imbalance manifest as hypocrisy, it manifests as cowardice. The type of people who like to latch themselves onto whatever cause happens to be the trend of the time and beat people over the head with it. For instance, so-called anti-racists. These people like to shout and scream about how this is racist and that's racist and everything they disagree with is racist. Well, they say this out of one side of their mouth, parading around, self-righteously claiming that they speak for whichever underprivileged group happens to be the flavour of the month with the political left. And then, out of the other side of their mouth, they make hateful and snide comments about so-called white trash or rednecks, or over here in the UK about chavs. If you point this out to them, they say, only white people can be racist, despite the fact that half the time they themselves are white. Although this is besides the point. People like this are cowards and hypocrites of the worst kind. I'm not talking about the people who actually believe this bollocks for whatever misguided reason. I'm talking about the kind of hypocrites that regurgitate this nonsense because it happens to be the trend of the time. Cowards like this don't care about racism or prejudice. They themselves are prejudiced. These hypocrites are exactly the type of disingenuous, unprincipled social chameleons that would have supported the slave trade had they been alive at that time. Because that was the popular opinion of that time, and they have no moral backbone. Well, the same goes for all the anti-male rhetoric. The people spewing it have no scruples, no integrity. Their whole identity is basically, it's good to be prejudiced when I do it, but it's evil when other people do it. Cowards and hypocrites. They are the most immoral people around, and deep down they know it. Yet they act like they are morally superior to everyone else, and they try to beat people down with political correctness. They downplay male victims of domestic violence. They downplay child victims of female paedophilia, even going so far as to claim, in some cases, that it's not as bad when women do it, or making excuses for it. Yet if you do something as simple as make a joke about a woman, these neurotic sycophants will act like you've just attacked the entire female species and proceed to take offence on their behalf. White knighting solely for popular approval. Not because he actually cares about women. Mark my words, if he did, there would be no chance he would accept such low standards for female behaviour. When you respect someone, you hold them to high standards, not low standards. Cowards like this would be amongst the first to beat and rape women if they had happened to have been born in a place where that was the norm. They are a reflection of the environment that they live in. No integrity, no backbone. So that is how the out of balance yin manifests in the third chakra. This is why the old word for cowards was yellow belly. The third chakra is yellow and is symbolised in the belly area, hence the yellow belly. Obviously when I say that's why it's called yellow belly, I don't mean literally, but synchronistically. As far as self-expression goes, this is the result of that knock-on effect I described in my previous video on the navel chakra. The effects of repressing your ability to express your emotions, which leads to stunted self-expression overall in the solar plexus chakra. The difference between the two being repressed emotional expression, which is more or less the inability to process and accept your emotions, and repressed self-expression, which is the inability to be who you are, to stand out. In the case of the solar plexus yang imbalance, one lacks this ability due to feeling that who and what they are simply doesn't measure up. They don't feel that they're good enough. In the case of the yin imbalance, these types simply have no identity to express. They have no integrity because they wear prepackaged identities that are handed to them in the time and the place in which they exist. They are play actors who use other people's opinions and identities to attack those who have their own opinions and identities. They don't have the courage to look within and find out who they are, let alone be who they are. Social chameleons are nihilistic black holes dressed up as iridescent, glowing light. When they see real light, their first instinct is to try and blot it out. They are the hammer that wants to flatten the nail that sticks out, while at the same time claiming to be the nail that sticks out. Often claiming that they are the renegade, the outlaw, the maverick. In truth, they are the polar opposite of all of those things. They are the natural result of the imbalanced root chakra types. And they have a higher self-esteem based solely on their ability to get what they want in life, usually at other people's expenses. They may have some regard for others, but not enough to prevent them from screwing them over, if they feel they have to. Now, social chameleons aside, we as humans do have an inherent need for social interaction. When we move past the primal needs of the root chakra, and we take care of the basics like survival and sexuality, we move into the sphere of belonging, feeling useful and needed, forming friendships, brotherhood and sisterhood. If these needs are fulfilled on substantial grounds, as opposed to a mere facade, worn by the type of unprincipled being who sees people around him or her as nothing more than a means to an end, then your third chakra should function the way that it's supposed to. If, on the other hand, you are the type of person who likes to buy things you don't need, to impress people you don't like, then it is a safe bet that your third chakra will not function as it should. The best way to sum up what the third chakra entails would be to say, it is all good and well to know thyself, but you have got to grow a backbone to be thyself. So let's move on again now to the fourth chakra.